The authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine. With over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. And Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 22nd day of February 2019. I trust that everyone had an enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads, again, we urge you to be extremely careful, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, a vehicle driver, motorcycle rider. Please be careful on the roads. Observe the rules of the road. Be courteous, and remember, the life that you save may be your own. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Our phone lines are always open. There is always someone there waiting to take your calls. Normally, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and the 949-6990. And if you don't like to talk on the telephone, email us at For the Record. That is one word, For the Record, at CANDW.KY. You can also WhatsApp us on 925-3261, where we encourage you to send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And, of course, you can follow us simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. For those of you who are following us on YouTube, this is not my new look for the show. This it is only for this morning because I have another meeting that I have to attend, and I have to look proper for that meeting and everything else. So this is not the new look for the record. My guest in the studio, he's always dressed nice and sharp, especially when he's attending or legislative assembly. And I just want to also remind you today that the show will conclude at 9:30 because of the obligation that I have that I must attend this meeting. So without any further ado, let me introduce my guest this morning. And you heard me repeat over the last few days the fact that the Honorable D. Ezard Miller, Leader of the Opposition, would be our guest this morning on For the Record. So, Mr. Miller, good morning, sir. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to the listening public. And as usual, I'm happy to be here, and I look forward to an interesting morning. We have a few things we can talk about today.
Quite a few things. And I see, you're always active in terms of getting information out to people, but I see you're holding press briefings, as well, and putting out comments on various things. And like you said, there is so much to talk about. One of the big buzzes these days, the last few days, is the House of Commons Foreign Affairs Committee report, the Global Britain and the British Overseas Territories resetting the relationship. Lots to talk about there, as well.
Every time we reset that, we wind up with the shaft and they take the gold.
Exactly. Yes.
You go back to all of it. Prosperity for them, not for us.
Yeah. Partnership for Progress and Prosperity, and we had one former Premier and Leader of Government Business, the Honourable W. McKeever Bush, who spoke of it as not being a partnership, but a leadership.
Yeah.
I think that was a good play of words. In reality, it was a leadership.
It's our fault, because if you check back the records in the Legislative Assembly, you will find that up until we rejected the 1992 Constitution, every throne speech delivered by governors and administrators prior to that always had one paragraph in it. Political advancement is available to the Cayman Islands people, but you have to ask for it. From the time we rejected the 92 Constitution, which had been negotiated with them, they changed modus operandi. And that's when they started Progress and Prosperity. And they have been meeting in their own little smoke-filled rooms or reconstituted, restore war rooms, and deciding what they are going to do to us. Right, and we need to be more active. The unfortunate thing about that FAC report is there are some good things buried in it, but all the people in Cayman are going to see are the immigration issues, where they want to allow British citizens to not only be able to vote but run for office, and the matter concerning the LGBTQ and marriages. And nobody is going to read the rest of it.
That's true. But if there is a wake-up call, this should be the wake-up call for people in the overseas territories, in particular countries like Bermuda and the Cayman Islands, Turks and Caicos Islands, British Virgin Islands. This should be a wake-up call now.
And my position has always been, also, as you know, consistently, I've said, listen, independence is inevitable. There's going to come a time when we are going to have to move out of our the British houses. My contention is I don't want that to happen in this instance, where you get some charismatic politician who just goes out and preaches hate, wins an mandate and takes us into independence, and we're not ready. I think we should determine how we want to move towards independence. And I favor a 20-25-year date, right? And there's a 5-year incremental movement. We have time to prepare our institutions. I'm trying to prepare the PSA institution into a proper institution with worldwide recognition and compliance. Trying to do the same thing with the leader of the opposition and the position of the leader of opposition and the office of the opposition. Those are the kind of things we need to do. I have said publicly, I support civil unions. And I believe, and I say the government has dropped the ball. We should not have waited on this report. We should not be waiting on a court decision so we can blame somebody else. The world is moving on. I am not going to support any changes to our marriage law or to the definition of marriage in the Constitution. I think that their attorney is way off base when he's suggesting that the court can somehow alter legislation in Cayman. That's just my opinion. But I think we should have taken the initiative, drafted proper civil union legislation in which we could ensure that Caymanian common law marriages are given equal rights. And I believe that would be acceptable to our population. But to leave it for somebody else to do, one, we have no idea what they're going to do. And understand once they do it, we can't alter it. This is not a situation where you can send out an order in council and we can take it down to the Legislative Assembly and amend it years afterwards.
Precisely, yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
So my position is that we should sit down, accept the responsibility and accept the authority that the people have given us to represent them and to deal with these kind of issues properly, in proper consultation with the people we represent, and draft bespoke legislation that is acceptable to the Caymanian people. But we're just sitting back, waiting for it to come down the pike, and we'll be able to say, well, you see, then we can cater to both groups, right? We can tell those who advocate it Well, you got it. To those who don't want it, we can say we didn't have nothing to do with it, right?
Well, I was up until after midnight, way up after midnight last night, reading it again and reading the report and the recommendations and everything else. And I was fuming, and I had so many ideas, and my opinion towards the right of self-determination, some constitutional advancement beyond what we have now that makes us the rulers of our own destiny. And I thought about this, and I thought about whether or not I should say it this morning, because all of politicians are my friends, leader of the opposition, my friend, premier, my friend. But I thought, and I said to myself, listen, we hear politicians talk about independence and not wanting to go there because we're not prepared for this, we're not prepared for that. To me, those are lazy politicians who do not want to take the ball and run with it, who do not want to take any chances to say to our people, I am prepared to walk with you, to move you forward through this maze, if there is a maze there that we have to go through to achieve what it is you have to achieve in terms of being the masters of your own destiny, rather than being subjugated to foreign powers and for them to determine exactly where you go. We are supposed to be past that by now. The days of slavery are supposed to be over.
But again, we managed to take the Cayman Islands from a fishing village to the producers of the best seamen in the world, to nothing in the financial industry, to whatever number we are now, 3 or 4 financial industry.
Yes.
And we sit back and make people believe that we can't run a country.
Exactly, yeah.
But all of those things, were done by us.
Yes.
In opposition to. We're facing opposition to our financial industry every day. Aren't we managing it? Aren't we making the kind of adjustments we make to allow the financial industry to continue to grow? Of course we are. Don't tell me we can't manage the country. But it is too convenient for politicians to say, that's the UK responsibility. That's the governor. Right? Listen, we need to advance our country. And it is not about power for individual politicians.
Precisely, yes.
Because the people put you there and the people can move you, right? It is about improving the governance of Cayman by Caymanians for Caymanians. And I make no apologies for that, see. Caymanians are like me, Now, whether you come by plane or you come by plane, you're Caymanian.
Yes.
Okay? That's who I represent. Right? And let me start to deal with the Compass editorial.
Go right ahead.
That ant's nest of expats we got like up there who, everybody else who defends their country internationally are patriots. When Ezra Miller defends Caymanians, I'm xenophobic. But of course, they're calling for we must hire the best in the world. I wonder how many of the journalists we have are the best in the world that work for the Compass. I would like them to take a page of this ad, put your CV out there.
Yes.
Tell me what your qualifications in journalism is. Tell me what your experience is. Show me when you work for the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the London Times. Show me that you're the best in the world.
Yep.
Right? But no.
What they basically do is they reproduce what others have written, in the Washington Post and whatever, and print it there.
Their editorial yesterday is a good example of not doing even a minimum due diligence, because they criticize me and call me all kinds of things. But like I say, when I get those kind of vitriolic and personal attacks from the editors of the Compass, I know I have earned my paycheck for Caymanians, because I know I am doing the right thing for Caymanians. Nowhere in my press release to do the airport that I asked about lowering standards, right? The Compass, the ad in the Compass for this thing closed 31st of January. If they didn't want to take the time to Google Cape Caribbean jobs, and they will say that one is updated 19th of November 2018.
2018.
Information I have suggests that the board approved the hiring of these 13 expats in November last year.
Before the ads were placed in the
in the compass, right?
And they hadn't placed any ads prior to that.
But
for
I don't have
November.
it. But I have sent in, since the compass and them claimed that I don't know what I'm talking about. I took the time to send a few FOI questions into the airport authority. Mm-hmm. They're going to be interesting to see what they ask. And these are the questions I asked. I want the names of the school or training facilities that Cayman Islands Airport currently have Caymanians being trained to be air traffic controllers, either as aerodrome or approach controllers. How many kids or training facility? How long is the course? And how long has each Caymanian been at the school or training facility? Please supply a copy of the regulatory directive from the Civil Aviation Authority of the Cayman Islands that mandated a split desk to aerodrome and approach controllers. I know there's none. Please supply a copy of the Cayman Islands Airport Authority or the CEO directive that implemented the split desk and the recruitment of additional staff to facilitate the split desk. Please supply copies of the advertisements and other promotional material used in the recruitment drive to attract Caymanians to be trained as air traffic controllers. Oh, see, you in the media all the time. You heard anything in the time last year about we needing air traffic controllers? You saw any campaign going on in the public about attracting Caymanians to control? No. Right? Neither did I. Not saying it didn't exist.
Right. But if it did, it wasn't prominent at all.
But here's another important thing that the public need to know. The split desk that they claim justifies 100%, because they're making the quantitative leap, that because they're going from one desk to two desks, they need a 100% increase of staff. Mm-hmm. You know what time that was implemented? September 2015. You heard what I say? Right. The split desk of approach and aerodrome at the Airport Authority was implemented September 2015.
4 years ago. We have to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, with the Honorable Diaz Ed Miller, Leader of the Opposition, will be back shortly.
On May 6, 1835, the Abolition Act proclamation was read by Captain Anthony Pack at Pedro St. James on orders of the then Jamaican governor, Lord Sligo. Lord Sligo sailed to the Cayman Islands on a British-owned battleship called the Fort to deliver the document himself. Pedro St. James was at the time the largest home in the Cayman Islands and was being used for parliamentary proceedings, a courthouse and a jail. The document abolishing slavery was read from the landing at the top of the stone step at the Great House. At the time of the abolition, there were approximately 985 slaves on Grand Cayman who were set free.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
540 months.
16,425 days.
394,200 hours.
45 years.
That's how long we've been committed to serving you, and we won't stop there. Over the years, we have proudly grown with Cayman, making a difference in the community. That's why we're here to stand by you.
We are Cayman National.
And we thank you for standing by us for 45 years and counting.
Thinking of doing more to show your sweetheart you really care? Explore new roads together with the 2019 RAV4, Vamped Motors' #1 selling SUV. Save $2,000 off all 2019 RAV4s loaded with features you both will fall in love with, like maximum comfort and cargo space inside, eco mode for low fuel consumption, an audio system with USB and Bluetooth connectivity, vehicle stability and traction control to help you navigate wet roads, and advanced safety features to keep you and your loved ones safe. Do more for your sweetheart and save $2,000 now on the all-new 2019 RAV4 from Vamped Motors, Walkers Road.
It is amazing to see my daughter grow up and make a difference in the world, but it is also completely terrifying to worry about her when she goes out with her friends. It is my job as a father to make sure she makes smart decisions and is safe as a young woman. So, when my daughter needs quality care, I take her to CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of the careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on ensuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Plastic pollution is a global issue. Even our beautiful islands can't escape plastic being found on our beaches and in the ocean. Together, we can change this. We can start by taking the 345 Pledge, which is a personal commitment to make better choices in our everyday lives. I am Kelsey Woodman-Bodden, Miss World Cayman Islands, and in a united effort for Cayman to be more environmentally friendly for the betterment of our future generations, I challenge all residents to take the 345 Pledge, which can be found at plasticfreecayman.com.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning, and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, none other than the Honorable Diaz Miller, Leader of the Opposition. Mr. Miller.
Also, I need to make one important announcement about Northside.
Sure.
You heard me talking about what a wonderful experience it was when I put together the senior citizens, the students, for the Cayman Thanksgiving. And I promised them to do one again for Valentine's. So we're having it this Saturday night at the Civic Center from 6 to 8 p.m. And H.E., the governor, has agreed has accepted an invitation to attend. Right, and this year now, there's going to be senior citizen students, and what I call the in-betweeners, people like me and you, who are not quite up to senior citizen yet, but we can get our 10%. Some places we go now, and we can go to the bank and get in a senior citizen line and all that. But I want to make sure that everybody in the district is invited and come out. And we can have a little bingo. We can have you pay $2 for a card and win $100. Not bad, not bad, not a bad trade. So I want to make sure that the people know about it. And so do you want to move on? I can move on
sure.
Beyond the Compass editorial because, like I said, as long as they continue to write bad editorials about me, I know I'm earning my salary. But I am still concerned about the fact that, and it is not unique to the Civil Aviation Authority. It also exists in many of the other authorities, where we're not, in my view, going out and conducting the kind of PR and recruitment exercise for Caymanians for jobs in these authorities. And I will even extend that to the general civil service, because we have, our education system is not as bad as we allow people to come here and tell us that it is. I went to the Chamber of Commerce legislative luncheon yesterday, and you know what I was most disappointed about? when they did their survey, right, infrastructure, work permits, was all up at the top. You know where education was? Next to last. But it tells you where their focus is. Their focus is on infrastructure development, ease of getting work permits, which increases their bottom line. And while they sell you this line that, well, if there was any Caymanians out there that were qualified, we'd be glad to hire them because we know how to work with expense, right? But that's not how they operate, right? And
say one thing, but they operate completely different.
And we need to get more business buy-in into our education system. I was noticing in the campus today there's an ad to do the plumbing exam, right? Now again, here's what we require for any Cayman to do that plumbing exam. You got to go work for some plumbing company for 2 years digging trenches, right? Why? We have the ability at Clifton Hunter High School right now, right, to implement a program that we can graduate people as journeyman plumbers and electrical wiremen. But because the industry requires and have convinced and have lobbied government to put this unnecessary requirement on licensure. Now, we'll accept anybody coming from Timbuktu can produce any kind of computer printout saying how much experience they have, how long they've been digging trenches, and they can do the exam, right? We need to remove these kind of impediments, right? And so we can develop our own people, The premier yesterday bragged about the program that's being introduced at Public Works, which is a good program. But as I say to them, why is Public Works doing this? Why are we building a building at Public Works to do this when we have all the facilities at Clifton Hunter? Why is it being offered there as an evening class and to students in the school? No, we are happy because we hope this year we'll get it up to 50. When we're graduating 200-300 students in a system that need that kind of technical training, and they're getting City and Guilds qualifications, we shouldn't be paying people at Public Works who should be doing drafting and taking so long to set plans and maintaining buildings, etc., to do training when we have teachers, right, at the schools, at the high schools, who can do this. And it takes a minor shift and a minor amendment to both the electrical law and the plumbing and the plumbing law to say, listen, you can take the exam in high school to be a journeyman plumber. All right, I will agree that if you want to do a master's electrician or a master's plumbing, you need 2 or 3 years experience. But I can come out and get a job as a plumber, right, as a journeyman plumber working for another company. When I get the 2 years experience, then I can go back to the community college and do the master plumbing course. Those are the kind of interventions we need. And we need to bite these things off. And what my grandpa talked about, chewable bites. Because none are going to bite off more than you can chew.
Then you can chew too. Folks, we've reached that time of the morning, top of the hour almost. We're going to our 8 o'clock news. When we return, the conversation will continue with the Honorable Diaz Miller, Leader of the Opposition. Again, remember that the show will go on until 9:30 this morning, not until 10 o'clock, unfortunately. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Price Right is 7:59.
Price Right is Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore, making your dollar go further with huge savings and no membership fees. Get more of the things you use every day at the right price. But it's not just grocery and health and beauty. Price Right has a full range of products from office to automotive, patio furnishings to kitchen appliances, and even electronics. And since warehouse prices mean savings for you, everything is priced right at Price Right, Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
Access information. Your community. News and information. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. The Cayman National Cultural Foundation kicks off its annual Arts and Culture Festival with an award ceremony Thursday night at the Harkle Theater. Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego was there.
An evening to honor over 15 people, the best of the best in their artistic fields, and those who have significantly contributed to the development of arts, culture, and heritage in the Cayman Islands. Awardees included Melvin Augustin with the posthumous Gold Heritage Cross Award, Maxine and Maureen Bodden along with the Crichton family also grabbing the Gold Heritage Cross Award for their service in fostering the spirit and joy of Christmas to the community. Rita Estevanovich for the Gold Star Creativity Award, fashion designer Izzy Obi for the Bronze Star for Creativity, Annie Rose Scott for the Silver Heritage Cross Award. This year's Chairman's Award went to long-serving volunteer Winston Salmon. Outstanding volunteers included Wardley Connolly and Rebecca Wick. Local production studio company Hopscotch picked up the Sponsor of the Year award. Along with the awards, attendees were treated to live music and entertainment. The Arts and Culture Awards is one of 3 significant events during K-Fest 2019. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
The green iguana cull steps into its 17th week and sees a total of 420,618 of the invasive species brought into the landfill by registered cullers. They're still short by about 900,000 greenies left to get rid of in order to reach the 1.3 million target number. The program, led out by the Department of Environment, is designed to help manage the numbers of the growing invasive species. Weekly updates are posted on the DOE's website, doe.ky. And families are invited to explore Grand Cayman's coral reefs and learn to snorkel at the National Trust's Families in the Wild Snorkel Clinic.
People come from all over the world to experience Cayman Islands underwater attractions, so we thought what better way to foster an appreciation for Cayman's ocean than to put on a clinic for families to build awareness together.
The Trust's marketing manager, Nasario Budal, tells Radio Cayman before jumping in the water, participants will be briefed on safety, have a discussion about various sea creatures, and the rest of the morning will be spent exploring.
Pre-registration and payment is required as space is limited. The cost is CI $10 for adults and $5 for children over 6. And if people want to register, they can contact community@nationaltrust.org.ky.
It all happens on March 9th at Sunset Divers at Sunset House. You can register before February 27th to get involved. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, who will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with David Austin. The leader of Myanmar, Aung San Suu Kyi, has been visiting Rakhine State, where hundreds of thousands of Rohingya Muslims were forced to flee. At a business fair, she called for foreign investment and said the world had focused too narrowly on the negative aspects in the region. A UN fact-finding mission concluded that the Burmese army could be guilty of genocide for its actions against the Rohingya. In Kenya, a much-anticipated ruling on whether to decriminalise gay sex has been deferred until May. The High Court was due to decide whether to repeal a colonial-era law that makes homosexual acts punishable by up to 14 years in prison. Cabinet ministers in Botswana have recommended the lifting of a 4-year ban on hunting elephants. There is evidence that the animals have been wandering outside conservation areas and coming into conflict with humans. The committee is supporting regular but limited culling. The Venezuelan opposition leader Juan Guaidó is heading for the Colombian border to collect humanitarian aid as his confrontation with President Nicolas Maduro intensifies. Mr. Guaidó has declared himself interim leader. He plans to accompany the aid into Venezuela on Saturday. Mr. Maduro has deployed troops and says he's considering closing the border. Turkey has ordered the arrest of 295 members of the military, suspected of having links to the US-based Muslim cleric Fethullah Gulen. Ankara accuses him of being behind the failed coup attempt of 2016. Hong Kong police are investigating the case of 2 sisters from Saudi Arabia who fled from their family and then went into hiding in the Chinese territory. The 2 young women, who are aged 18 and 20, were intercepted by Saudi officials at Hong Kong airport en route to Australia, but they managed to flee into the territory. Those are the latest stories from BBC News.
Access information. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after.
Brit K protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after.
Visit BritK.ky or call 949-8699.
Brit K, where people come first.
Cayman's biggest family fun day is back.
The 52nd Annual Agriculture Show at the Stacey Watler Agriculture Pavilion in Lower Valley. Wednesday, March 6th. Cookie competition, pony rides, petting zoo, beautiful baby contest, rodeo, Miss Farm Queen competition, Andy Martin the Cayman Cowboy, Roscoe the Mechanical Bull, and so much more.
Gates open at 7:30 a.m. with ample parking.
General admission is only $10. Children ages 2 to 11, only $5. And children under 2 are absolutely free. Or if you buy a raffle ticket, it includes free entrance and a chance to win $20,000.
The 52nd Annual Agricultural Show, March 6th in Lower Valley.
For more information, visit them on Facebook or caymanagriculture.ky.
A pleasant good morning. Time now for the latest weather report. Current temperature is 79 degrees. Relative humidity is 90%. Barometric pressure 30.01 inches and rising. The wind is east at 6 knots. Overnight low temperature was 76 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate winds and seas expected over the Cayman area for the next 24 hours. In association with a high-pressure system over the western Atlantic Ocean, radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving northwest. Now the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today and tonight is calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers. Temperatures will be in the mid-80s today and fall to the low 70s tonight. Winds will be east to northeast 10 to 15 knots and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Low time will be at 8:48. High tide this afternoon at 10 minutes past 2 and a low tide again tonight at 11 minutes after 9. The sun will set this evening at 6:27 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:50. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Sunday morning. Good morning once again. Let's take a look at what's happening traffic-wise. Busy traffic coming from the east on the Shamrock Road and also on the Linford Pearson Highway. Expect some delays as you head down to Georgetown. Steady traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way as well as on Huldah Avenue. Traffic is steady. On Thomas Russell Way, moderate flow of traffic. Traffic on North Sound Way, flowing moderately. Coming from the West Bay four-way stop, moderate flow of traffic. And no issues on Shedden Road as traffic is flowing pretty good, as well as on Edward Street. And on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate, heading to Georgetown and coming from Georgetown heading to West Bay. Light to moderate traffic flow. Steady traffic on Cool Road and other sections a little busy. And steady traffic coming off of Linford Pearson Highway on Agnes Way. And that's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll update you traffic-wise. Have a good morning and buckle up.
The 15th Annual Cayman Economic Outlook returns on February 28th for another year of educating, informing, and stimulating the local community, bringing together industry thought leaders and business professionals to explore their theme, Dynamic New World, Braving the Turmoil. Speakers include economist Norina Hertz, University of Oxford professor Ian Golden, digital revolution journalist Andreas Ekstrom, biotechnology futurist Jamie Metzel, and professional surfer Mark Matthews. Tickets are selling fast. Reserve your seat at rfceo.ky.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you.
This week at Kirk Home Center, save on electricity costs with 60-watt LED cool white light bulbs for $2.39. And dry clothes, towels, and more on a metal rust-resistant drying rack for $23.39. For the do-it-yourself homeowner, save on oil-free pancake compressors at $122.40. And enjoy home patio dining with the 5-piece Haven dining set for $593.99.
Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
Did you know that recycling collection containers are located island-wide in Grand Cayman? The Department of Environmental Health's program is an integral part of DEH's waste management responsibility in the Cayman Islands. Start your recycling program at home today. Put your cardboard items in appropriate DEH recycling containers at all Foster's supermarkets, Kirk Market, or Hurley's Grand Harbor. Help keep Cayman clean. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. For more information about recycling, go to www.deh.gov.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning, and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, none other than the Honorable D. Ezard Miller, Leader of the Opposition. I want to take this opportunity to read very quickly, Mr. Miller, a letter that we received from one of our listeners. And the writer, they write and say, I'm writing to express my concern in relation to the numerous amount of motor vehicles that are imported into Cayman on a regular basis. I understand that one shipment can be sometimes as many as 300 vehicles. This explains the frequent traffic jams that commuters to the capital in the morning have to endure, and also the reasons why more and more vehicles are parked on the roadside at nights. The latter is especially common in densely populated communities such as Windsor Park. Not only are they using the motorways for parking, but many cars are also being scrapped and left on the roadside as well. If I were to submit house plans to build a house in Georgetown and not have the land on which to put this house, the planning department would certainly reject my application. This leads me to question, why are people allowed to import motor vehicles when they have no place to park except on the street? I believe that all vehicle importers, aside from dealers, should be made to prove to the authorities that they do have appropriate parking locations with evidence such as land title or parking permission from a landlord. The overflow of motor vehicles on Cayman's roadsides is a matter of distress to motorists, which needs to be addressed by the authorities with great urgency. Finally, not only is this a traffic hazard to other road users, but it also detracts from the beauty of our communities.
And I think it's illegal, and I think it's illegal to park on the sidewalk under traffic law.
I think...
those places might not have sidewalks constructed, but there's an area that is designated
that is left
for
for
people to walk.
pedestrians to walk.
So,
precisely,
yeah.
As well. There's one analogy that I take exception with, and that has to do with the, the fact that if you have a car, you should have evidence to show that you have some place to park it. And there are many municipalities who have challenges like that, but I think that would be an overreach for everyone who owns a car to say, well, I have some place to park it. But the vehicle congestion and the number of vehicles on the island is really something to be concerned about.
We're going to have to address the number of vehicles. We can't continue to build out of traffic jams, right? Because even the announcements that the Premier made yesterday at the Chamber of Commerce luncheon about extending the East-West Arterial Way, hopefully this year, up to intersect with northward, right, and eventually getting it to Frank Sound, not going to solve the bottleneck at Hurley's. Not a solution to the bottleneck at Hurley's is part of the proposal to put the port in Raid Bay that was put forward by the captains, which takes a road out to sea, right, and comes back in further down in South Sound, right, so that you have two roads, because there is no way to expand that roundabout there, really. And because right now, we remember now that we got planning approval for all those apartments that are going up on the seaside there. Yes. And they're going to have an impact on that junction.
No question. No question.
So it is a matter that, and the Premier spoke yesterday about carrying capacity of the country, right, and in terms of attracting development, etc. Of course, he didn't mention that about the port, because that's the biggest problem we have with the port, right? But we have to make some hard decisions on who can import cars into the Cayman Islands and who can't. I'm not suggesting that we be as drastic as the Bermuda situation, for instance, but we are beginning. If we do something, we can soon be in that kind of situation, right? And I think we have to talk to the people and find out what is acceptable to Caymanians and make the hard decisions, because we need to do something, And if he's right that we're importing 300-400 cars at a time, it explains that. I mean, this morning, although I left home at 10 minutes to 6, the traffic was at the Boddown police station.
Yes.
Now, it did clear up when we got down to Savannah and spots and where we had the dual lanes, right? It speed up a lot. But because of people coming on to the highway, I was amazed at the number of people who are coming out now of the Anton Bodden bypassing Bodden Town. And there are people who are now living in that hinterland behind there. There's a lot of development stuff going on up in there that I took the time to look in there, and as far as I could see along the primary school, there were cars lined up waiting to get onto the highway.
Yeah,
So it is, but moving that to the East-West Arterial Way and bringing it all to Hurley's going to be the same problem.
Okay. What's your opinion on the quality of driving? I've commented on here
I
believe that we have to have a much more robust road test, because the quality of the driving on the roads of the Cayman Islands is horrendous.
You got to look at Mar Road and see how many accidents they're reporting, fender benders.
Yes.
Again, I would suggest that part of that is because we are allowing people to switch license, right? And they're not going through the vigorous testing that we have here.
I question whether or not that testing is vigorous enough.
But I agree with you that it could be improved, and it needs to be. I would hazard to suggest that the learning period needs to be longer. And remember, we talked years ago about some kind of graduated, where they could only drive for a certain period with adult supervision, and they didn't do it. Yeah. And we have to find a way, because I agree with you that the driving is atrocious. And some of the biggest breaches of it is these omnibus operators, etc.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they'll stop in the middle road and put people out,
Okay. We have one caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Interesting conversation about the traffic. That's a topic for a whole entire week show, Mr. Moderator. I want to comment now in support of Mr. Miller's observation that we don't need the public works to get involved in training of plumbers.
Great.
Because we have ample facilities in the schools, and the schools are the best laboratories in which to conduct this education and training of plumbers. Let the public works stick to what their original mandate is, working on the roads, repairing the roads. And maybe if they want to do something extra, they can consider putting some overpasses in busy areas, such as the area around the Lion Center, where people run the dangerous gauntlet every day. Gentlemen, we need overpasses. I mean, the need is acute. I see it every time I travel on the road, and I cringe at these pedestrians who are trying to navigate busy lanes. But back to the training of plumbers. The schools have the facilities, and certainly Mr. Miller is right when he said that excellent facilities exist at the Clifton Hunter School. That's the best place for this kind of training to take place. And I know when I was at the University College, we also offered, and it still is, a course for journeyman plumbers. I would suspect if Public Works takes responsibility for the training, everyone else except Caymanians will benefit. And I have my reasons for being so suspicious. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Borden, for that. Mr. Miller?
I thank you for the support, and we just need to get the government to do the right thing. You know, we have these facilities, let's use them, right? And he's right in that the reports I get that it is not always the Caymanians, like you and I, right, that are getting the benefits from some of these programs. And there's nothing wrong with telling those people, listen, we accept your volunteer to do this training, but you got to do it either at the community college after hours, right? And we'll give you a stipend to do it, right? Or you do it at Clifton Hunter after hours, right? So that people can be exposed to it, you know? The idea, I mean, the big boast by the Premier yesterday was we've done 17 people. Like, come on, really? And we got 500-600 that need it, you know? And you can't, because again, when we've gone to the trouble, and I tell you what I know, is we have modified the building at Public Works to provide a classroom to do this in, right? Why are we duplicating the effort? You know? Accept the help from these people. Use the courses that they're getting, whether it's through Citizen Gale or the Heart Foundation in Jamaica, of which you are no doubt aware, that we do the mechanics program through. And there are other programs, particularly in the hospitality industry, that are available. But put them in the high schools, right? I mean, just like, and we should be, just like how we put special gold bands and hats on the academic excellence. And I'm talking serious academic. You go to Clifton High School and you got 10, 15 kids graduating with 12, 13, 14 passes with distinction, all distinctions, you know, right? Those people who are graduating as a journeyman plumber and as a wireman electrician and as a level 1 auto mechanic and as a carpenter or a cabinet maker should have the same prominence. Because that's how we are going to get people to respect the professions and to want to go into them.
Exactly.
And they're lucrative, right? Listen to me. You call a plumber, see what you're charging.
If you can get him to come.
Exactly. And we know, and here again, Ossie, we have the best statistics in the world. We know how many plumbers we need to call work permits. We know how many electrician wiremen we need to call work permits. We know how many carpenters we need, right? We know how many air-conditioned technicians. Because these are, again, all the facilities are there, you know? But you see, what we do is we tell people you can get this profession. But I say you got to go stand up in the hot sun and dig trenches and drag around pipes for some big plumbing company for 2 years before you can do the exam, right? And that's a simple amendment that we need to make to the law, right? And the schools should be administering the tests, not people in the industry.
Okay. One of our listeners has written, we have a caller, but before we go to that caller, one of our listeners has written in and said, Doubletree Lane off Chime Street is double side parked and no emergency vehicle can pass through. That creates a serious
and the police,
problem.
The police,
Prescott Lane is the same way down in Rock Hole. I think they've gotten that addressed somewhat, as well.
But the police need to drive through these places. I got the same problem down at Rumpoint with construction people. They're parking on both sides of the road and emergency vehicles can't get through. Mm-hmm. I drive down to just to look around, and I got to wait for oncoming traffic because cars are parked on both sides of the road.
And those are construction workers that are doing that.
Yeah. And the person who they're working for has a huge open lot next door,
Yeah.
Anyway, I finally got the police to go down there.
Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. We'll see. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You hit on a good subject this morning, talking about all the stuff that's going on here with traffic and all that kind of thing. I don't understand why people don't see the people that the government, I should say. We import cars every day. We get in cars here, and they've got to see the congestion of the roads. But they keep talking about this great thing with the tourism and people coming here. I've heard people up till a couple of days ago talk about Stockholm. The traffic in this island is getting so bad. They don't even want to rent a car now. And the bus service is so bad that they go stand up for a bus and there's no schedule. These kinds of things that is happening. But nobody seems to care because they're getting 2 cents for the importation of the cars to the island. And so they're getting the revenues going up. But what I'm saying is we're destroying the tourism business with all of these cars and stuff like that because people don't want to see Miami or them places out there. And we're becoming just like Miami. What's in Miami? The traffic. I mean, it's really, really bad. And when you got to wait, somebody told me one morning that they had left north side or east side, I think it was, at 6 o'clock in the morning. It never went into Georgia until 8 o'clock. Now, this, I understand, is almost a regular thing. Why is it that we don't have a good monorail or something, a good transportation system that won't take up a whole bunch of land for roads and stuff like that? Every place else in the world has it. And it'll be cheaper, it'll be more reliable because you're not getting into no traffic jams and stuff like that. People who use it. But we have to start thinking ahead. Now, we can't just think about money coming in because you got, this is, and then the other thing, Chazard and Ms. Sosi, we have a system here. I don't know what government does about the importation, when they have expats and stuff coming into work. But when people come here on a work permit, government should have an account that every employer, whoever that is, wherever that person comes from, whether it's Timbuktu or wherever, they must have in that, there's a fund there that pays for these people in case we get a recession or something, because these people are going to be stuck here. And you remember after Ireland how bad it was, people couldn't find money to get home and all that. It's going to be worse. And until we can do something like get an account, make the employers who bring in these expat workers to put the money for their repatriation in an account. Okay? And then when things happen, they can say, well, here's your ticket. You can go ahead and, But we don't think ahead. It's all about, immediacy. Immediacy, that's what we look at. Gentlemen, thank you for the time. Have a good day. God bless you.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. This is a good time for us to take a commercial break. We have a few more WhatsApp messages as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
We invite you to listen in on Friday, February the 22nd at 12:15 p.m. for the next CI Retro Talk Today presentation in the Celebrate Cayman series, when we'll give you a bird's eye view, word picture of our Cayman Islands' vast maritime heritage, or maritime, which underpinned the firm foundation on which the modern Cayman Islands has been built and still continues to do so. CI Retro Talk Today is being brought to you by Thompson Shipping.
Let Thompson Shipping take care of all your shipping needs. Thompson Shipping, 949-8044.
My dad is the best. He was always there to protect me and guide me to be a better person. He helped shape me into the woman that I am today. But I was never prepared for the day that I had to protect and take care of him. It was terrifying and a total role reversal. But I will always be there for him like he was for me. When it comes to his medical care, I go where he always did, West Bay Pharmacy.
We know the difficulty of caring for elder family members. At West Bay Pharmacy, we can help assist you with caring for your loved ones by providing quality medicine and some of the most efficient home healthcare items possible. We provide precise calculations with your prescriptions to ensure your medical safety. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
Miami is so much more than just a shopping destination. Foodies, friends, and family are flocking to Miami for a variety of vacation experiences. From theater shows and concerts, theme parks and sports, to museums, fine dining, festivals, culture, spa, and more. And with regular Miami airfares now from just $182 CI round trip, including taxes, now is the time to plan your unique Miami getaway. For details and to book, call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com. System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, the Honorable Diaz and Miller, Leader of the Opposition. We have 3 callers. We're going to ask the callers to please be as brief as possible because this morning we're only going until 9:30. But before we go to the phone lines, one person has written in and said, good morning to you and your guests. And for the record, I have a question for Mr. Miller. Is there any update on cutting down the unnecessary tendering for security, janitorial, and canteen staff at the schools and other government buildings? It's very important that we minimize the cheap labor and give our qualified Caymanians the benefit and recognition for these jobs. Tendering for these positions will only allow more permits and poverty to our islands. Please do something.
I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. Whether there are people who are tendering and then obviously employing non-Caymanians then to do the work. And I know that most of these places now, the government, if you go to tender on these kind of jobs, you have to have a business license to start with. So once you get the business license, then you're up in the business. I don't think it's something. We used to have a thing around. They used to call. Single entrepreneurship, no, that was the word we use, where people themselves, I could take a job from you without having a business license, right? Single proprietorship or something that was called, right? But that seems to be gone out the window now, and if you're going to engage in any contract with government whatsoever, it has to be with a business license.
Okay, let's go to the phone lines. First caller, good morning, welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Miller.
Morning. Cheer up. You sound down, man. Come on. Wake up.
Yo, when Osise.
Wake up.
When Osise, he's only there till 9:30. And then you got to make our conversation short. That kind of puts you backwards. But anyhow, good morning, guys. I just want to say, Mr. Miller, I really don't believe that the more roads we get, the better we can solve the problems on these roads, because we're bottlenecking somewhere down the line eventually for the days out. No disrespect to anyone trying to make more roads. But like they're saying, we need to do something about going up in the air trying to extend. You understand? Because when you go to the licensing department, you may find 3 Caymans sitting there and off the road is full. I have to say no more about that. And Mr. Miller, when it comes to the school bus on the road in the daytime, it is such a shame to see how those buses are being disrespectful by drivers. Our bus door is on the left-hand side. They're crossing us on the right, and they cross us on the left. No respect to the bus whatsoever. Really and truly, I don't know if anybody's even getting penalized for what they're doing. As much report has been going into the department of the police department. But Mr. Miller and Mr. O.C., what do you all think about that Kaboo performance that got a slap on the wrist of $300? You can answer that when I hang up the phone. I thought that was very, very disrespectful to the Cayman Island and the people of the island and those that we have here in prison or jail, whatever we call them, for a stick of ganja. But I just wanted to say that really and truly, buying people's property to make roads ain't solving the problem. Because by the time we get one road fixed, the other road is messed up by some company, and they never fix the road back the way they found it, and no one is going out there saying, hey, I want this road put back how you find it. These roads are mashing up our vehicles. That's all I have to say this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. No one. No call. Okay. Mr. Miller, you want to respond to that last caller?
But this thing with people disrespecting the school bus. I mean, I notice now that the drivers of the school bus have resorted to almost turning the bus cross with the road to prevent it. I think we have to be innovative. I think the traffic police should amend whatever traffic regulation that we need to. But if the bus driver takes a picture of somebody, right, which clearly identifies a license plate, and they're overtaking one of these buses while their lights are blinking, there should be an automatic ticket, and it should be like $5,000. And 2 women, the license is gone for life. Because you notice that I've seen the police becoming more active on the school zones, right? But I don't see them giving them. I see them there with a radar, but I don't see them giving nobody no ticket. And I know people are speeding because I myself, right, has experienced speed limit by doing 20, and people are overtaking me in their lane, right? And the police are sitting there with a radar gun, but they didn't stop me, right? And they didn't stop the other people. And I didn't see any cars lined up that they were giving tickets to, But it gets back to our great fall down is enforcement, see. We need to have better, greater enforcement of our laws. We got plenty of laws on the book, right? I know that when you was in immigration, you had an enforcement team that was active, and they enforced the law. It seems now that it's almost difficult, and I agree. Let me say clearly that we have to admit that the need for enforcement is several times greater than it was when we were talking about in the 80s. You had 1 or 2 construction sites. Now you've got construction sites all over the island, so it makes it more difficult. But we haven't given the enforcement arm the kind of resources that they need. And that's where the problem starts, and that's where it ends.
Okay. I want to say to those of you who follow other news in other overseas territories, if you get an opportunity, in today's Royal Gazette, in the opinion section, there is an article written by the Member of Parliament, Mr. Christopher Famous, who was here in the Cayman Islands when we had the CPA conference. And it is entitled, "We Are Not to Be Sacrificed on the Altar of Convenience." Of course, Bermuda has a serious housing problem, and he has even put up a photograph of one of the the affordable, quote-unquote, affordable housing in the Cayman Islands, and talks about the fact that, $300,000 home in you can buy a home in the Cayman Islands. And when it comes to Bermudan standards and the cost of living over there, $300,000 is cheap. Because most cases they're in the millions of dollars. So I want to encourage people to read that. I shared that with you this morning, Mr. Miller, and I know you didn't have an opportunity to read the whole article, but it is quite interesting, and I would encourage people to read it.
And it is an outside view from somebody who acutely observed what's going on in Cayman while he was here.
Yes.
And compared it to his own country.
Yes.
And while one of the most interesting things in that is the trade that you see completely through it of, yes, the Cayman miracle is there, but Caymanians are being left behind. And he gives several examples of how we're being left behind. Okay. And that's the risk we run. And that's the disappointing thing about what's going on in our country. You and I, OC, are young enough to know and remember when Caymanians owned everything. And again, the compass can write the editorial calling me xenophobic and hating expatriates. But the one time that I had the opportunity to exercise authority over expatriates was the 15 months I spent as chairman of the Immigration Board. And there's not a single expat that can come point a finger in my face and say, Ezra, you didn't treat me fairly and squarely. I insisted that there had to be, if there was Caymanians available, that had to be, but it was always, as you know, right above board, fair, straight down the middle. People call me and invite me over to their corporate office for lunch to try to influence me. No, Ezra didn't go. You want to talk to me, you come in here, sit down the same chair that my little Caymanian from Central sit down in.
And it's alleged that one chairperson of the Immigration Board early in the morning went to persons and expats' house and to check to see whether or not the suitcase was packed, and they were ready to get on the flight because their work permit had been revoked.
Right. Yeah.
So we have had some. Let's see if we can take a call before we go to the commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you all doing this morning?
Good morning. Fine. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. Well, you guys are on the subject of enforcement, and I'm happy that you brought up immigration because when you were there, you worked that enforcement department. I'm saying that to say that I'm wondering, and I'm most certain that that DCI has an enforcement department, but I have yet to see them enforcing using that department. For example, in my neighborhood, I know it's going on around the island, but in my neighborhood alone, there are so many businesses. And being a residential neighborhood, we shouldn't have any businesses here. I've seen signs, so I'm sure some of them have license. But those businesses should not be in a residential area. I've seen, I don't even want to call any names, but if DCI has a department, I would like for them to start enforcing using it. And weed out all of these illegal businesses, and even the ones that has licenses that shouldn't be in the catchment area for a business.
When I wanted to set up an office in my house, so that people, when I was not in my office or on the weekends, could come to my house, and I would have a place that I could deal with them confidentiality, I had to go and get planning permission, and I had to prove that I had space for people to park and all this kind of stuff. So how these people are getting around all of these change of uses and all this kind of thing, I don't know. But again, it goes back to enforcement. When you try to get the planning people out there to enforce it, I got this down the road from me, they're mechanic shops, right, operating in the middle of the road. And you call the police, and the police go, and they give them some excuse, and they do nothing about it.
You still there, caller?
As he touched on planning, let me just go there a little bit, because I am just so disgusted with them. I've complained about so many things in so many years, and nothing has been done. And it's time for them to start doing their jobs. They're being paid. It's government purse, and they need to do what they're being paid for.
Yep.
And on another note, just before I leave, I just want to commend that letter writer on the traffic and the caller who said that needs a week to be discussed. we need a month. Because I'm on the road. I'm a commuter, and I'm on the road every day, all different hours of the day. And I've seen some ridiculous things. And I've also seen the police driving around with the stupid blue lights on top of the car. And there's somebody doing something illegal, and next to them, in front of them, behind them, and they're just cruising with these robotic lights around the place like they're not even there. So with that said, I just want you guys to have a wonderful weekend. And
Same to you. Thanks for calling.
Thank you very much, caller. Same to you as well. There needs to be some serious policy decision when it comes to vehicles and in the Cayman Islands and the importation of vehicles. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to wait until it becomes really, I mean, crisis. It's a problem now, but we don't.
But it can become a crisis if we don't do something about it.
And we have to, take
a
proactive
road rage is
approach
increasing.
towards it.
Road rage is increasing, even with me.
Yeah.
Okay. My gentle soul that I am.
Commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Pharmacy Group would like to thank the Cayman communities for their continuous support for over the past decade. CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy opened its doors in March 2000. West Bay Pharmacy first opened their doors in March 2004. The Cayman Pharmacy Group was established in July 2007. Throughout the years, our CPG family has provided more than just pharmaceuticals to our loyal friends and customers. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has protected the lives of our medical community by securing the best healthcare advice and pharmaceutical services. To us at CPG, you are more than just a number. So, we are taking the time to say thank you for choosing CPG. The Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Spend a day at Grand Cayman's biggest one-day family fun day, the 52nd Annual Agriculture Show at the Stacey Watler Agriculture Pavilion in Lower Valley, coming March 6th. Raffle tickets are now on sale, and for only $25, you can win $20,000 and so many other prizes, including a garden package, iPhone, and staycation. Raffle tickets include general admission to the show. For more information, visit them on Facebook or caymanagriculture.ky.
Hi, I'm Dawn McLean Brady, President of the Cayman Islands Small Business Association, better known as CISPA. Small businesses drive Cayman's economy. As small business owners, we depend on government to create an environment where we, as entrepreneurs, can do what we do best, and that's to provide products and services that are valuable to our customers and, in turn, employ others. The cruise piers and cargo ports provide these opportunities. Encourage our government to build a port and let the Caymanian entrepreneurial spirit shine. Support the port, support our tourism.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have one caller still. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Osi.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is Neil Levy.
How are you doing, Mr. Levy?
Not too bad, Osi. I hear Ezra and you on the radio this morning having a good discussion.
Thank you.
You know I usually don't call in, but I'm calling in this morning because certain things that I hear and notice going on in this country, I have to speak about.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I want to talk about, mainly about two things. One is about the transportation system in the country, and the other one is members of government that is making these big mistakes and spending our money foolishly. I will start with the government making big mistakes and spending our money money foolishly. As it, and you know, because you've been members of government, part of the system, we have been wasting a lot of the people's money with these stupid mistakes that the people is making, the government members is making with our money. Such things as from Pedro Castle time, overspending the schools, overspending the dock, the port, the airport, overspending hundreds of millions of dollars, I estimated has been spent foolishly that could be spent on the people of this country to eliminate poverty. OC, Ezek, and the people of the Cayman Islands, we all know that the government members are not the wisest members. Only maybe one or two of them, a few of them may be wise, but a lot of them is not wise in this effort to help our people eliminate poverty. $10 million I heard the other day was overspent on the airport that looked like a military barracks. I hear it is still leaking water, and it is disgraceful to hear these things are happening. Ezra, I listened to you the other day with your opposition or your input with this port. You know and I know that the port project in Georgetown is a bad one. They need to listen to our people. OC, I like very much the job that you are doing on that radio, and I need for you to reach out more to our people and help our people in this effort, along with all of those that give our people. Now, the next one is the transportation system in this country. I am one of the original minibus drivers in this country, and I see that this transportation system has gone to a disgrace. We have people doing what they want to do on our road, especially those that's going up to your area effort, as a north side. They are turning back, twisting back, doing all kind of dangerous driving, overtaking, for what, $2? We need to get this thing in proper order and get rid of some of them ex-policemen that is there scoffing off the public and the bus drivers and not really there for any genuine purpose. Because they are doing a lousy job. The one that's called the transportation inspectors. The bus drivers that is twisting around and turning around and not going north side and overcharging people. We need to get this stuff in order. I know that the politicians don't have no time to pay attention to the transportation system in this country, because if they really did, they would have a real, genuine, proper one. But as you know, and I know, they're all about their own pocket. Not all of them, but most of them. Is that, you know what's going on?
I reported them up until this week for the same things you complain about.
Okay. So what we intend to do about it?
Yep. Caller, I want to thank you very much for that very, very useful input there. And like you said, you're one of the original minibus drivers in the Cayman Islands as well. Mr. Miller, we have about 6 minutes before we go to our headline news at 9 o'clock, which is very short. But I think this is important for us to talk. Okay, we had a caller just come in. We're going to take that caller. But what we're going to do after, we're going to suspend the calls for a while because we want to talk about the Foreign Affairs Committee's report, the 15th report of session 2017 to 2019, Global Britain and the British Overseas Territories, resetting the relationship. We want to talk about that. We want to explain to people what it is all about. Those who have not yet had the opportunity to read or to digest what is in there as well. Let's take the caller first. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Lucy, good morning to you and Mr. Miller.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Not too bad, sir. Mr. Miller, let me chat with you just for a short time.
All right.
I'm really concerned about where this country is going because I've seen it from day one. And I'm seeing it now, and I'm really concerned, and I think that it's time, which it should have been done a long time ago, that the politicians I don't know whether they're always in the dark or they don't see or what the problem is, but I mean, we as Caymanians and everybody else, I heard discussing issues this morning and I'm listening and driving. I say, they're talking about these things on the radio, and the politician, they are 100% aware of what is happening in this country. And what are the politicians are not aware of what is happening in this country, the directions we are going? When are we going to get a handle on it? I mean, it's total crazy because you were on another subject just now about vehicles and stuff like that. You know what concerns me is these mobile car washes. How much of these vans are licensed and legal to operate in this country? I mean, you look at Joy E-Bikes, which has a proper business, right? And the man is struggling because of these people. If they're totally illegal, I have no issues with that whatsoever, right? And I think the time has come because it scares the hell out of me to see where this country is going. And I just need the politicians to do something about it because until it is too late, don't follow every other country. It's time for us to do something for Cayman and forget about trying to solve the unemployment for the world. We cannot do it. We are too small. We're only 60,000 people. America has 340 million people. We cannot solve the unemployment problem in this country. So I need politicians to get a handle on what is happening and do something seriously about what is going on before it's too late. Because one day they are going to wake up, right? And they're going to say, you know what? I did have a chance to do something about that, and I didn't, You know what? Guess what? It's too late then. Gentlemen, thanks very much. Let me say my piece and have a good morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, caller, for that.
The caller's right, and one thing I don't want my two young daughters to be able to look at my face 10 years from now and say, well, Daddy was there and he didn't act, because we need to get our head around the problems facing the country, and we need to deal with them.
Yep, we certainly do. So we want to look at. So we want to look at the House of Commons Foreign Affairs Committee publication, the report on Global Britain and the British Overseas Territories, resetting the relationship. I think we need to start off by looking at the Foreign Affairs Committee and its remit. And on their website, it says that the Foreign Affairs Committee is appointed by the House of Commons to examine the expenditure, administration and policy of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and its associated public bodies. I think we should look at the current membership, because I believe that is important, because that speaks to some of the issues that are normally discussed based on the membership. So we have Tom Tuinhat, member of Parliament. He's Conservative. You have Ian Austin, who's a Labour. You have Chris Bryant, who's Labour.
He's not Labour today.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He resigned. Yes, that's right. We have Anne Chewald, Labour. Mike Gapes, Labour. Stephen Gettins, Scottish National Parliament. We have Ian Murray, Labour. Priti Patel, Conservative. Andrew Rosendale, Conservative. Bud Seeley, Conservative, and Royston Smith, members of Parliament. What are their powers? The committee is one of the departmental select committees, the powers of which are set out in the House of Commons standing orders, principally Standing Order number 152, and you can read those if you go on to the website.
House of Commons
website. Right now, Mr. Miller, I guess we should take the break now, because not much more I can say within a minute's time. We're going to reach our headline news. When we return, we're going to continue this. We're going to suspend the calls for now because we want to put some substance into this discussion as well. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
Police team up with the public to rescue two dogs stuck in a cistern. Around 6 p.m. on Tuesday, officers were called to an area near the shores in West Bay where the two dogs had gotten trapped. One officer used a ladder to climb into the well while another helped pull them out using ropes with a member of the public. The RCIPS used the opportunity to remind landowners to keep cisterns covered for safety and dog owners to keep their pets contained. Venezuela's embattled President Nicolas Maduro has ordered the closure of the border with Brazil amid a row over foreign humanitarian aid. The leftist leader went on TV to say he was also considering shutting the key border with Colombia to stop the opposition bringing in relief. He denies any crisis and calls the aid delivery plans a U.S.-orchestrated show. And a Chicago judge has said charges that U.S. actor Jussie Smollett staged a hoax hate crime against himself are, quote, utterly outrageous and, quote, despicable if true. The 36-year-old African-American actor is accused of filing a fake police report claiming he was the victim of a homophobic and racist assault. Police say he staged the attack because he was, quote, dissatisfied with his salary. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning, and welcome back to For the Record. I just want to remind our listening and viewing audience that we have closed off the phone lines for now because we really want to start the discussion on the House of Commons Foreign Affairs Committee's report, Global Britain and the British Overseas Territories Resetting the Relationship, 15th report of session 2017 to 2019. And this was printed by the House of Commons, ordered to be printed on the 13th of February 2019, and it was published on the 21st of February 2019 by authority of the House of Commons. Now, I named the members of the committee, and one in particular I'm going to point out right away, Chris Bryant, MP Labour for Rondada. He was a former minister, junior minister for the overseas territories as well. He's a gay MP, and I believe that there's no question why the whole issue of same-sex marriages and stuff like that has arisen in the conversation as well. Not to say that also that all of the overseas territories were invited by the select committee to make representations to the committee in relation to the relationship between the overseas territories and the UK. And as a result of that, many of the topics that were discussed and the publications were made in them may have been initiated by some of the submissions that were made by members of the overseas territories as well. Now, in the situation with the Cayman Islands, right, we did have our UK representative, Mr. Eric Bush, appear in front of the committee, but also we had written representations by the government of the Cayman Islands. We had written representations or submissions by individuals. And I will share more of that with our listening audience throughout the next week as well. We also had the Human Rights Commission here in the Cayman Islands make submissions to the Foreign Affairs Committee as well. Now, Mr. Miller, first I want you to explain to our listening audience your take, your views on the powers that this select committee has and the influence that it has. They can make recommendations, which they have. Sometimes those recommendations may be accepted, sometimes not. But let's use the case of the Turks and Caicos Islands after 2007 when they were put under administration. I happened to be in the UK at the time and attended the Foreign Affairs Committee meeting, and there were members of the Turks and Caicos Islands who were vehemently opposed to the administration in the Turks and Caicos Islands at that point in time and pointed to the corruption, allegations of corruption, and we know what happened there. Can you explain that to our listening audience?
I don't think that we should just dismiss this because it is a committee of the House of Commons, and we believe that the government has a different view, as was explained yesterday at the Chamber of Commerce meeting by the Honourable Premier. Mm-hmm. This is a very influential committee.
It is.
Right. We have seen them act in the past and their recommendations taken. Mm-hmm. Now, the report is printed, but the report, it doesn't say, as I recall, that it has yet been tabled in the House of Commons. Right? I'm not sure that it does. Mm-hmm. Because the risk we have is that in tabling it, just like in Cayman, in the House of Commons, they can move a motion that their recommendations be accepted. If their recommendations are accepted, it binds the government, irrespective of what the government intentions might be. Because they remember, just like us, the executive, the prime minister, and the ministers are a creature created by the House of Commons to do the executive administration of the country. And I believe that because of the two most concerning recommendations in the report, the marriage situation and the even more troubling, the preposterous proposal that British citizens be allowed to vote in the Cayman Islands and in all overseas territories and be allowed to stand for office. Mm-hmm. I believe my preference would be I would like to see the Premier engender a debate in our Legislative Assembly about the whole report, and he then used that debate to make very strong representation to the FCO, to the Minister of the FCO, about the concerns we have about the implementation of some of the recommendations in this report. Because I believe that, and I know as a fact, I've been there with him, that he has and will continue to make representations to the FCO as the Premier in terms of what he would like, how he believes the FCO should treat Cayman. Mm-hmm. And let's give him credit where credit is due. He certainly has improved the relationship between the FCO and the elected government in the Cayman Islands, and therefore improve the opportunity to influence their decisions, which is the whole idea of having a better relationship, right? But I believe that armed with, and because there's some of these things are so concerning to us as politicians and therefore to the people that we represent, that there needs to be large-scale exposure to the general public of what these people are thinking about. Mm-hmm. Because these thoughts by the Foreign Affairs Committee are not in isolation.
Right. It's not by accident. They have an agenda.
Exactly. And they are being lobbied by other members of the House of Commons. Mm-hmm. Remember when they did the beneficial ownership? The threats came out then about messing with it. They should have the rights to write immigration law for us too. Mm-hmm. And I believe we need to have engender a national debate about this report.
Yeah. I promised that I would share some of the written submissions. We had written evidence submitted, a PDF version that was submitted by Mr. Timothy Adam, 6th of November 2018. I'm trying to pick out the ones from the Cayman Islands. Katina Anglin, written evidence, PDF version, that's on the website as well, on the 6th of November 2018. We have like I said, the Human Rights Commission, Cayman Islands Government Written Evidence, PDF version that was submitted on the 16th of October 2018, so you can access that as well. Also, Cayman Finance Written Evidence submitted on the 6th of November 2018. The Cayman Islands Human Rights Commission Written Evidence submitted on the 5th of February 2019. That's when they submitted theirs, on the 5th of February. Okay, that's pretty late down the line. Colors Cayman written evidence submitted on the 6th of November 2018. Actually, it appears as if Colors Cayman made two submissions, as well. I believe that is all that I find in relation to the Cayman Islands. Now, Mr. Miller, let's talk about one of the issues that was discussed there, and whether or not the Foreign and Commonwealth Office was the proper fit for the overseas territories to be placed under, right? I believe that having this discussion, that this is a direct attack on Lord Ahmed. When the Sanctions and Anti-Money Laundering Bill was put into effect and the amendments were made to it to insist that the order in council be prepared, that if the Cayman Islands do not, and I'm being very general in terms of how I explain this, if the Cayman Islands do not fall in line, that order in council would be prepared, and that is now being challenged in the courts. When those sanctions and anti-money laundering bill was being discussed, Lord Ahmad stood up robustly for the Cayman Islands, and I believe that what they have done now in relation to looking to see whether or not the Foreign and Commonwealth Office is a fit place to have it is, simply retribution
not
for
only
that.
Not only did Lord Ahmad and the FCO, backed by the government, stand up for us in the House of Lords and other places during the debate. Remember what they did after the fact. They have put this thing off until 2023.
23, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And again, that was not what this committee and the House of Commons voted to be done.
Right.
I think it was to be by next year, right? By 2020.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because they have accepted our proposal that it needs to be a global standard, and they have accepted that they can't have a global standard in place by that time. I guess it's left to be seen whether whatever happens with Brexit, whether they'll be in a position to try and establish a global standard on something like this. But yes, it is probably a reaction to the government altering what they wanted done. And I hazard to guess what would happen to us if we were moved out of the FCO. Because the FCO is the traditional administration going all the way back to the days of the Commonwealth and the Empire and the colonial administrations and all that sorts of stuff. But getting back to the actual report itself, I would like to see more information put in the public domain and more discussion. Because again, we don't know what the Premier submitted, but there's no public disclosure of that.
You mean locally?
Yeah, what our Premier submitted to them. And my position is that those kinds
but it's available.
Yeah, I mean, you can go on and get it, right?
Yes,
But wouldn't it have been better to have had a public discourse about it through? And I get back to these things. We need to use our legislative assembly more. A motion in the legislative assembly on what he was recommending, so that when he not only that allows it to be the public discourse of what we're submitting, but I say that if he can back up his submission by saying this was a resolution approved in Parliament, gives it more authority, because these are parliamentarians we're dealing with, right? And I think we need to find a way to discuss this, although he is technical, I reckon, saying that it's just an advice to the government.
Yes. Okay. We're going to take our last commercial break for the morning. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Thinking of doing more to show your sweetheart you really care? Explore new roads together with the 2019 RAV4, Vamt Motors' #1 selling SUV. Save $2,000 off all 2019 RAV4s loaded with features you both will fall in love with, like maximum comfort and cargo space inside, eco mode for low fuel consumption, an audio system with USB and Bluetooth connectivity, vehicle stability and traction control to help you navigate wet roads, and advanced safety features to keep you and your loved ones safe. Do more for your sweetheart and save $2,000 now on the all-new 2019 RAV4 from Vamt Motors, Walkers Road.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Our children, they are the future of our country. So often, being a parent means making the tough decision now so that they can flourish and prosper.
The American Boarding School Fair will be visiting Cayman on Tuesday, February 26th at the National Gallery. With Cayman's growing and diverse global economy, this is the perfect opportunity to learn about the educational options available to Caymanian students, firsthand from visiting delegates.
There is no charge to attend. You have nothing to lose and potentially everything to gain. With specialized programs and a focus on individuals with learning differences, these leading institutions provide a well-rounded education and international experience.
Yes, the boarding school fair is free to attend for all parents and students at the National Gallery on February 26th from 5 to 7 p.m. For more information, visit the admissions page at www.gow.org or call 1-716-652-3450. That's 1-716-652-3450. Radio Cayman 11 a.m. News Headlines is brought to you by Savannah Pharmacy.
Savannah Pharmacy, just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays.
Stay updated with the very latest news from Cayman, the region, and around the world. The 11 o'clock headlines, brought to you by
Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, none other than the Honorable Diaz Miller, Leader of the Opposition. I think we have our WhatsApp that we're going to play. And I have one that was written in as well. I'll read the first one and then give Ms. Susan a chance to prepare the other one. It says, traffic on 4-lane roadways would improve if there were signs that read, quote, slower traffic, keep left, unquote. Too often drivers are going slow in the fast lane. Maybe they think they are in North America, in countries that drive on the left and the right lane is for the fast lane. My opinion on that is that they do not know the rules of the road. And if that question was on the road test, they probably would get, on the written test, they probably would get it wrong. Which lane should you drive in if the speed limit is 40 miles an hour, but you intend to drive at 30 miles an hour? They would not be able to tell you. So that is my opinion on that. It's just proper driver education, and it has to start with the way that we administer the test here in the Cayman Islands. It has to be more robust. It has to be, much more stricter than it is. Ms. Susan, you ready for us? Go right ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Connor and Mr. Ezra Miller. I know today in Cayman is much unrest over the report tabled by the House of Commons concerning global British overseas territories.
We didn't get all of that. Let's get back to the report, Mr. Miller. We have about 10 minutes, and you're going to need some time for some final comments as well. Anything that you want to announce in your district, as well. Now, when we look at some of the topics that were discussed, the OTs and the FCO, we mentioned that before, the OTs and Parliament seem to be a big push by some about having representation in the UK Parliament, the OTs. I think we have to be careful of that because it might be one of those traps again that they're setting for us.
You'd be one of what, 600, 700?
Yes.
You really think how much they? You wouldn't even get a seat inside the House of Commons.
Yeah, so we have to be careful. UK funding for the overseas territories, not something that we're too concerned about because we find that we can pay our own way. We have the ability to do that, and we've been doing that for many years. Points of friction in the between the UK and the overseas territories relationship. The overseas territories grievance with the UK citizenship and the National Health Services, and the OT's divergence from the UK same-sex marriage and belongership. Now, they even go to the point of suggesting that certain areas where the overseas territories refuse to comply, that the order in council should be put in force. Now, that goes to tell you the insensitive nature and the insensitive feelings that these members of Parliament have for the overseas territories, because they still believe in the nuclear option. They still believe in running the overseas territories with an iron fist.
They simply look at us as we are their property.
Yes, and we do what we want to do with you.
And they do whatever they want to do with us, and we must just accept it. And that don't wear well with Ezra, right? But again, we need to be proactive. And we need to be more active. We need to make representation onto these bodies in a more formal way. And now that this report is out, there are things in it that don't suit us. Mm-hmm. And we need to make that known clearly, right? We don't want to get to a situation where this amendments to this are tacked on to some, because remember now, they're gonna have, if they come out of the European Union, mm-hmm. they are going to have a whole slew, hundreds of laws that they're going to have to rewrite and make into Parliament.
Yes.
What we don't want is some group, again, attacking some amendment to some of these bills to achieve some of this stuff, and we only hear about it after the fact, mm-hmm. or the date it is tabled.
Yep.
I think we need to now get busy to inform the FCO what in this report concerns us, what we are not prepared to accept under any circumstances,
Yeah. What I would like to publicly commend, I would like to publicly commend the Premier of the Turks and Caicos Islands, Honorable Charlene Cartwright Robinson, who stood her ground in that committee. And again, if people get an opportunity to read some of the questions that were posed to her and the answers that she gave, you should do so. And that is why I believe that it was important for us to be at the table, to be at those hearings, and whether or not we should have left it to our UK representative or the Premier or a Deputy Premier should have been there, despite the fact that we did make written submissions and everything else.
Ignoring this is not going to make it go away. These people have their own agenda.
Yeah.
They want rid of us, and they're going to harass us as much as they can. So we need to stand our ground for our people.
Yeah.
And we need to prepare ourselves and make proper, detailed submissions on some of this stuff so that it's on record, right? And as the Premier said at the Chamber of Commerce meeting last night, if they insist that non-Caymanians can hold office and can vote and hold office in this country, that has to be the red line that we said, gentlemen, that ain't happening. What do we need to do, right? But we need to prepare for that eventuality.
But here we are having constitutional negotiations and discussions with the UK. That has never been raised by them as part of any constitutional change. But yet we have a committee of the House of Commons, making those statements. The other thing that I want to caution people about, we have to be extremely careful about when we talk about, we are British, we want to be part of Britain, it is in our DNA. Those who talk about it being in their DNA, that might be fine for them. It's not in my DNA. My DNA is of African descent, and the reason that I'm here is because those people in the UK with their slave trade brought my forefathers to the Caribbean. That's why I'm here. It is not a part of my DNA, not so whatsoever. But we have to be careful, because when we say that we want to be a part of Britain, then we have to be prepared to accept the things that they are going to impose upon us.
I mean, there's an old saying that came on, familiarity breeds content. While I commend the Premier for improving the relationship, right, we must use that improved relationship to the benefit of Cayman and Caymanians. Capitulating to this by ignoring it is not the answer.
Yeah,
we need to we need to take this bull by the horns and ride it through the Cayman China shop and make sure our China don't get mashed up while they're riding through.
Yep, Mr. Miller, what I want to suggest is I'm hoping that we can set aside a session, and it doesn't necessarily have to be on For the Record, if we can find time on Radio Cayman to put a panel together to sit down and to discuss this document. And I want to extend an invitation to you to be a part of that if we can get that going. Any final comments, sir?
Absolutely. Well, I just need to thank again you and the listening public for their involvement in the discussion this morning. And again, just to remind our senior students and in-betweeners that tomorrow night we're having this little thing at the Civic Centre. The Governor is in attendance, and I would like a good turnout. The cost of admission is good and it's free. And you can get a good meal. So come out, let's have some fun, play a little bingo, entertain the Governor, show him some good Northside hospitality. And the whole idea here is to get the seniors talking to the students and us in-betweeners as well. Because what I believe is missing in our social environment today is that we're not getting the cross-generation communication that you and I enjoy. When we grew up, we didn't have television, so we visited people and we listened to the conversation. Of course, when it comes to these people talk, you were told, go sit on a porch, right? Because, you can't be part of this conversation. But that's the whole idea behind it. Everything else in Northside is going good in spite of the Ezra haters who claim that I'm not doing anything. We expect that we will start the construction of the restroom by next to the Starfish Point for some March. And I want again to thank the DART group for for opening the gate onto their property to allow the tourists to park on their property,
that's
to
great.
access
Good.
Starfish Point for the 4 months that we need to close the site, because I was worried about having to use the site while it was under construction. There's always a risk, and it always makes construction difficult if you got to clean up the place, So he can now put up his fences, block it off, get the building done as quickly as possible, get it fixed up for the public to use, and the DART people have willingly consented to open the
Excellent.
gate. And so thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Folks, I want to thank you.
First Friday in March.
In March, okay. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. I apologize for leaving you so early today, but I couldn't get dressed up in a shirt and tie and all of that and not show up at my meeting. Join Sterling Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
Thinking of doing more to show your sweetheart you really care? Explore new roads together with the 2019 RAV4, Vamped Motors' #1 selling SUV. Save $2,000 off all 2019 RAV4s loaded with features you both will fall in love with, like maximum comfort and cargo space inside, eco mode for low fuel consumption, an audio system with USB and Bluetooth connectivity, vehicle stability and traction control to help you navigate wet roads, and advanced safety features to keep you and your loved ones safe. Do more for your sweetheart and save $2,000 now on the all-new 2019 RAV4 from Vamped Motors, Walkers Road.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. And Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.